Barring the goalkeeper, pretty rubbish performance from Oxford United, but at least we didn't lose. Hello everybody, it's Ian here once again from OUFC Fan View. It's time for another review of another Oxford United game. Oxford took that dreaded trip down to Buckinghamshire. It was away at Wycombe Wanderers. So after getting back to winning ways on Tuesday night, Oxford took that short trip to Wycombe with a bit more confidence than what they've maybe had in the last couple of weeks. It is 4 games without defeat for Oxford United now, and they find themselves back in the playoff places. But as we know, never a happy hunting ground, certainly in recent memories. It's rare that we even score a goal there, let alone win at Wycombe Wanderers. And today was pretty much just as bad as what we've seen in recent years away at Wycombe. It didn't yield any goals, but Oxford actually found a rare clean sheet. This one is not going to be one we remember for very long after the game, but it did finish Wycombe Wanderers 0, Oxford United 0. And after that first half performance, Oxford were very fortunate to find their goal intact and very fortunate to come away from Adams Park with a point. But it is a point that we get, and we will break down everything. I won't go into as much detail. I didn't write as many notes on this game as I was watching it with a friend, but I will go over the team news. I'll give my thoughts on the game, and I will give my final thoughts overall for both sides at the end of the game. Feel free to jump to any point of the video if you like, so I do put timestamps. You can use them below or on the video itself. But if you do that, the very least you can do is hit that like button, and if you do like the content, consider subscribing. So let's have a look at this Oxford United team news. It's 3 changes from that side that beat Wigan on Tuesday night, and the big one is that the skipper is missing. Elliot Moore out of the side with a hip injury. He is replaced by Stefan Negru. Marcus McGuane also out with a knock. He's replaced with Ruben Rodriguez. He goes back into the 10 role. Brannigan and Matete in those holding roles in midfield. And Owen Dale is also, not surprisingly, replaced by Tyler Goodrum. Will Goodwin is back on the bench, and so is Josh McEachran. There's no Tyler Bure on the bench for Oxford United. The biggest thing for me is we've had games where Elliot Moore's been missing before, and when Negru's played in a back 4 without Moore, he's sometimes been a bit susceptible. That Cheltenham game does, stick in my mind quite significantly. So Elliot Moore is going to be a big miss for Oxford United today, but no doubt that is still a pretty strong lineup. Moving on to Wycombe, and Matt Bloomfield's Chairboys started the day in 15th place in League One. They did lose on Tuesday night to Bolton, but they did record back-to-back wins in the 2 games prior to that, including an impressive 5-2 win over Peterborough last time out at home. It is 4 changes from the side that lost to Bolton. Jack Grimmer, Josh Scowen, Kane Vincent-Young and Gareth McCleary come back into the side. Luke Leahy, who scored 2 penalties in the 2-2 draw at the Kassam, is on the bench, and there is no Sam Vokes either for Wycombe, who is out injured. Just want to say before we do a review of the game, lovely touch from Wycombe Wanderers renaming the stadium Adams Park to Adams Park in tribute to 17-year-old supporter Adam Ankers, who died earlier this month. As I say, really nice touch from Wycombe in tragic circumstances. And this first half was very much a case of tragic circumstances for Oxford United. They were dreadful and terrible in this first half. Wycombe much the better side pretty much all the way through it. How Oxford United went in at 0-0, still Wycombe will be scratching their heads at that one. It kind of beggars belief a little bit, but they had so many chances to take the lead, and Oxford have to be really indebted to Jamie Cumming for keeping them in it. After 13 minutes, he made a good save from Taylor with his legs, keeping the ball behind. Oxford really didn't offer much going forward at all. They struggled in all areas in the first half. They were pretty much second best in the middle of the park. They struggled to get the balls out to any of their wide players. Harris wasn't doing a good job of holding the ball up, and we struggled down the flanks with the fullbacks, but they did have one chance, and it did actually come when Harris was able to get his foot on the ball. He played it to Josh Murphy. Josh Murphy cut inside, fresh off that goal on Tuesday night, but he did curl his shot wide. That was probably about as close as Oxford came in that first half, because other than that, it was just Wycombe chances, and it was Jamie Cumming again with a fine double save, first from Sadlier and then from Taylor, header as Oxford were literally hanging in there. Wycombe were just getting so much joy from wide areas. You had Sadlier, who had the beating of Long in that first half, and down the other flank, Lee wasn't doing much better up against Grimer or up against Scowen, and Wycombe were just getting up ahead of steam. They looked dangerous with set plays and balls into the box. But right on the stroke of half-time, we had long delay in the first half because of a referee getting injured, and right virtually at the end of the half, Wycombe missed an absolute sitter. And that is putting it mildly. They really should have been at least 1-0 up, maybe 2. But it was a magnificent ball from McCleary out to Sadlier, and he got into the penalty area away from Sam Long, played a slide rule ball across the 6-yard box. There was Lubala there, acres of space. All he had to do was tap the ball in, but he side-footed it wide. I don't know how he missed. Wycombe fans, I'm sure you don't know how he missed. All I know is I'm bloody glad he did miss. Breathe a sigh of relief, Oxford fans. We somehow got in at 0-0 at half-time. Wycombe have been much the stronger side, and it was only a combination of Jamie Cumming and woeful finishing that kept Oxford in this game, and Wycombe will be kicking themselves. It's such a familiar story. How many times have we come to Adams Park and we just seem to get outfought by this Wycombe side? A huge improvement were needed from Oxford in this second half. And I can't say we got huge improvements, but it was better from Oxford United in the second half. And Wycombe's level certainly dropped. They were certainly not as good as they were in the first half. They didn't cause Oxford nowhere near the amount of problems that they did in the first half, and Oxford caused 1 or 2 more problems themselves. They did make a half-time change with Will Goodwin coming on, and you just found overall the level was a bit better from Oxford. They won a few more second balls. Offensively, they looked a lot more secure. Wycombe weren't getting the joy of getting balls down the flanks. I think there was just one ball across goal which McCleary just couldn't wrap his foot round at the back post, but other than that, in the second half, Jamie Cumming was relatively unchallenged. I would certainly say it was Oxford that asked the more questions in the second half, and I actually thought it made a bit more of a difference when Billy Bowden came on. Oxford looked a little bit more composed, but the composure of the players was pretty poor all afternoon. It was very rare you saw an Oxford player being able to get his foot on the ball and play some good passes, but they were getting in behind Wycombe a little bit more. Wycombe were looking a little bit more stretched, and there was a couple of times where they hit some good through balls, and there was one good move by Harris where he got in behind and he just tried to square the ball to Bowden, but Wycombe's goalkeeper Strick was able to get on the ball, and then Rodriguez wasn't able to get on the rebound. A couple of long-range efforts from Brannigan, one actually inside the penalty area, which was beaten away quite well. There was a header from across from Goodrum, where just sort of, Goodrum not really the right player you want on it. If it was Goodwin, you feel he would have had a better chance of scoring. And a couple of times where Billy Bowden nearly got in behind, and it looked like both times he'd done the hard work, but he broke the ball down, but his final touch was just allowed Strick to make a couple of saves on the ball. There was a late penalty. Robin Rodriguez got booked late, for a dive. I'm not sure if that was a penalty or not. Oxford fans, you'll have to let me know. I was watching the game without any commentary. For me, it looked like Rodriguez was trying to win a penalty on that occasion and was quite rightly booked, but let me know if you have any different feelings on that one. But all in all, second half came and went pretty quickly. I say Oxford were better. They weren't great. I wouldn't say they did enough to win the game in that second half. And my feelings are, at full time, I'm just grateful we came away with something. And that brings me to my final thoughts. And we'll start with the home side, Wycombe Wanderers. And this game was all about the first half for Wycombe. They were head and shoulders above Oxford United in the first half. Everything about their game was better. All over the pitch, man for man, they were better than Oxford United. And how they weren't in the lead, only they will know. Wycombe fans be pulling their hair out how they haven't won this game. They missed. Jamie Cummings made some good saves in there, but maybe those Wycombe strikers or midfielders or strikers should have tucked those chances away. And Lubala at the end of the first half missed an absolute sitter. Second half, the level dipped a little bit and Wycombe were a little bit more stretched by Oxford United, but maybe some Wycombe fans will probably be a little bit annoyed that they didn't kick on again in the second half and cause Oxford as many problems as they did in the first. And you've also got those problems of conceding late goals, which nearly came back to haunt you, but this time it didn't. But I think overall, Wycombe you'll be all right with that performance, and you've certainly improved in recent weeks and look a lot stronger than maybe you did a few weeks ago. Some players returning from injuries made a big difference. I thought those front players were very effective in the first half, particularly the likes of Sadlier, particularly the likes of Scowen and Grimer getting down the wings and causing problems. McCleary looking very, very composed on the ball. I think if you'd have had Vokes in there, he probably would have tucked one of those chances away that Labala didn't. But yeah, Oxford, you really did a good job of putting Oxford on the back foot in that first half. And I would say you've certainly turned the corner now under Bloomfield and can probably look forward to a pretty comfortable end to the season where you start to pick up a lot more results than what you were doing towards sort of over that sort of winter period. But let me know your thoughts on it. Oxford just never seemed to beat you. I'm grateful this season what we've taken any points off of you at all, because last season was pretty grim. And last couple of seasons have been pretty grim. But yeah, so Oxford actually gets something at Adams Park for once. And but let me know your thoughts on what you think of Bloomfield, or what you think of this team, and what you hope to achieve at the end of the season. Good luck for the rest of the season, and hopefully you can beat some of those promotion chasers. And that brings me on to Oxford United. And first and foremost, very, very lucky to be coming away with a point. I'm grateful that we have got this point, but that first half was terrible. Really bad. As bad as what we saw at Bristol Rovers. We were just lucky that they didn't get the goal. There was no... again... The word just comes back to plan. What was the plan? How were Oxford looking to score a goal in this game? We didn't have any composure on the ball. We weren't passing the ball through the thirds. Harris wasn't holding the ball up, and we weren't getting our wingers involved. What was the plan of attack in this game? Wycombe just seemed to have more intensity in that first half. They were winning that midfield battle. Greg Lee and Sam Long had a terrible first half, torrid time dealing with the wide threat from Wycombe Wanderers. I don't think Murphy and Goodrum did a very good job of getting back to help the fullbacks out at all in this one. And Oxford just didn't look like much of a team in that first half. You can't put it all down to Elliot Moore being missing. Matete and Brannigan have not formed that partnership yet that we were hoping that they were going to do. So you can still see how important Marcus McGuane is to this side. You often become a better player when you're not in the side, and Marcus McGuane certainly has done that today by not featuring. But yeah, and I do think give credit to Negru and Brown, because in the second half they were much better than they were in the first half. In the first half, Oxford was sort of so ropey all over the pitch, but full credit to Jamie Cumming. He has kept us in this game in the first half. What an important signing. I gave him criticism for that Bristol Rovers game, but that is a huge save against Carlisle, huge save against Blackpool, some good, decent performance in the last game against Wigan as well, and now a string of saves in the first half to keep his clean sheet for an Oxford United goalie, and the first clean sheet we have kept for ages. So that is one big positive, is Jamie Cumming looking bloody good between the sticks. But it comes back to just saying, why are we only good in 45-minute periods? Why are we so often so lacklustre, particularly in the first half under Buckingham? Why does it take him to go and take the team in, readdress things, and we come out and we look better? And we did look better in the second half. We did look better. The team looked like they had more of a focal point with Goodwin up front, although he didn't do a huge amount in the game. It just maybe freed up more runners elsewhere to get in behind, because you did see Harris and you did see Bodin causing problems. I think in hindsight, maybe we could have used Bury in this game for a bit of pace, like for like pace, but it did feel like the longer the second half was going to come on, it did feel like Oxford may have been the more likely to get a goal, but not enough sustained pressure overall. But I think the overriding feeling is, if you can't be good, and you're not going to be good every game, and for large parts of this game, Oxford were pretty dire, you've got to come away with something. And we've come away with something. That's 5 games unbeaten now, 4 draws, 1 win, which is not ideal. But that playoff picture is looking a lot more rosy for Oxford United, with teams dropping points around us. That's another drop points for Stevenage again today. I think that's 3 defeats in a row for them now, as they falter as they come down to the stretch. Barnsley got a weak wing, but Peterborough look like they're dropping off the pace a little bit as well. So all of a sudden we've got ourselves back into a more comfortable position in these playoffs. We've got 2 home games now against Leyton Orient and against Northampton. Northampton first. Not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm expecting very similar games to what we saw against Wigan, with sides sitting quite deep and trying to hit us on the counter-attack. So don't expect those to be comfortable ones. But if we can, let's say, pick up 4 points from those 2 games, we still leaves us with a pretty decent haul for February and a pretty decent position going into the final 2 months. So there will be a lot of doom and gloom in the comments after this one. It's another game where we haven't been able to beat Wycombe, but at least we kept a clean sheet and at least we didn't lose. And, we've come away with something and we're still in a pretty decent position. We need to improve massively. There's still huge improvements that need to be done. We know that. We still don't know what the best lineup is. We still don't know what the best formation is. And we still don't know where these pieces are going to fit into place with the likes of Matete and the likes of Goodwin. But they're better problems to have than what we had when we were scratching around trying to find anybody to play in a position. But hopefully Elliot Moore's not out for too long and he can fit back in on Tuesday night, because the longer he's out, the more of a worry it is. But let me know. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be back to do another review on Tuesday night as this season rolls on. We'll forget this one pretty quickly, but at least, as I say, we didn't lose. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.